Welcome back to another episode of Scryer's Room. I am your host, Famfare.
I'm Kevin.
I'm Mario.
And today we're going to talk about the Elder Scrolls series.
Nobody could have predicted that they just drop Oblivion remaster or remake.
Remastered.
It's a remaster. People are calling it a remake because I guess it's pretty robust, but I don't know, man. I really feel like they should have done Morrowind.
It's very similar to the Halo one they did.
Uh-huh.
Like how you click a button and you're in the old version, you click a button, you're in the graphics
version.
overlaid that.
That's cool.
That's essentially what they did, except you can't click back to the old graphics. Right?
Okay, that makes sense.
But it's basically the same exact game. They just built graphics over it in Unreal.
We made it pretty so that people will actually look at it and not vomit.
It is a lot better looking, but it still looks kind of janky.
Well, I mean, it's Elder Scrolls.
Yeah.
They specifically make their characters like they're ugly.
Well, Oblivion in particular is especially the mouths. It's really weird. But so I'm gonna go through each of the games in the main series. There are 8. There's actually it's 5 or 6 technically with ESO main games, and then there's 2 spin-off games, and then there's 5 or 6 phone games. And
there are phone games for Elder Scrolls?
Yes, and I don't care.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't care about those. Apparently, some may be canon. Whatever. I'm not into that.
Ever since the Dragon Break shit, I just assume it's all canon. You know,
I would kill for the gacha waifu phone game Elder Scrolls.
Maybe
they will make every dragon from Skyrim into an anime girl.
Hell yeah!
I don't know nothing about those. I don't care to know anything about those.
I bet Parthenax has massive titties.
The biggest.
Who can say? But so yeah, I'm gonna go through all of those. I'm gonna try to make it brief. The ones I have not played or know or that is hard to get information on. So the first 4. I'm gonna be extra brief, and then around Morrowind I'm gonna get more specific with the plot line and stuff like that.
Right.
But before that, as I usually do, what is you two's experience with the Elder Scrolls series?
So my experience with Elder Scrolls, my first one was Oblivion, and I specifically have a little bit of a story that goes with this. So my cousin Todd, love you, bro. He used to come down to our house for summer. He would come down to visit. Sometimes we'd go up there. I don't want to give out details. I want to dox him.
No,
but yeah,
we
would come visit. It was a chill time, good stuff. And I was really into World of Warcraft growing up. That was my thing between my tweens to adulthood. I was a Warcraft boy. And
to yesterday.
Yeah, till yesterday even. That was kind of my poison of choice, and I was showing him Warcraft and telling him about the game, and he was like, this is fine, this is an RPG, but you really can't do a whole lot. Because he's trying to hop up walls and glitch up walls. He's the kind of guy that really likes to break the game. You want to see what he can get away with.
Right.
He doesn't, it's not, okay, what am I supposed to do? It's what can I do? That's how he thinks.
A real sandbox player.
And he's very sandboxy, man. And so we go to visit, so he's down at our house for summer, and then we actually go up there to visit him for a few weeks. And when we get up there, he busts out the Xbox 360, and he busts out Oblivion. And he starts showing us Oblivion, and my mind is fucking blown, because I had never seen an RPG like that before. I didn't know they made them like that, because I didn't play Morrowind.
Right.
And I specifically remember on Toonami, they had an ad for the Elder Scrolls 3 Morrowind, basically rating it as this is one of the games, if you're watching Toonami, you should be playing this game. And I remember Nick was like, I really want to get that. And we never did, because we weren't really into PC at the time. We weren't PC gamers, we were console gamers. We didn't have a console version that I knew of at the time. And
I don't think it's fair for any child to be made a PC gamer.
It's just not at the time.
If you're too young, you're supposed to be on consoles, and frankly, the PC people are supposed to think they're better than you.
Yeah, exactly. That's the ecosystem.
Yeah,
that's the level up. That's just how that works. But
buying a kid a whole gaming rig collapses that. That's an Apex megafauna now.
they have no more competitive advantage.
Yeah,
they need it. Their old man reflexes can't keep up. No, but But yeah, that was my experience playing or witnessing the Elder Scrolls. And it's like, he's doing all this crazy shit, and he's like, every time he moves, he's jumping, and he's like, you have to keep jumping so you get acrobatics up. And I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about, Todd? And there's a move to show you. So he loads up his character, and he presses the jump button, and he just, goes up, and he's just on the roof of a building.
What?
And I'm like, what? Yeah! And that's the game. I leveled it up. So he was basically like, he looked at Warcraft and weighted it against the Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion, and was like, bad, fail. And honestly, yeah, I get that.
Acrobatics is really funny in Oblivion, because when you get to a certain level, you can jump off the surface of water.
Oh man!
So you can just hop across the lake or whatever. You can
do some Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon.
It's very silly.
That is very silly.
Kevin, any experience?
So my experience with Elder Scrolls is I'll be brief.
At the very least, you know what Skyrim is, right?
Yes.
I remember a specific story if you don't bring it up.
So originally I saw Oblivion when Nick and you played it.
He thought it was hideous.
It was hideous, and I didn't really want to pay attention to it.
Even for the time, it was like, but it was still cool. It was still new, but as
the lip syncing was new.
Graphics,
that wasn't really a thing you had then.
Wise, it wasn't incredible, but it was all right.
Then Skyrim came out,
2006,
and then my experience became watching them play this game that I couldn't take seriously. And I even bought the game and tried to play it myself because I'm like, this isn't a fair thing to base my entire dislike of this. I can't take it seriously. Why do they sound like SpongeBob Leif Erikson? Hinga-dinga, the dragon bird.
It's not jingoist. It's not.
It's not. It's an accent. It's an accent to a fantasy realm that has no need for that accent.
And it's like every fourth guy is the worst.
It's every guy! That's the problem. If I'm not talking to a cat or a lizard, I'm talking to Leif Erikson.
Well, it's good, the Nords are just Scandinavians.
God, that's good. That's good shit.
That's about it, though?
That's about it, though, yeah.
Okay. No, I specifically remember an experience Kevin had with Skyrim is he was like, I need to make this game playable.
Yeah.
So you installed mods to make yourself Guts from Berserk.
Yeah.
And I guess that was fun for all of 5 minutes.
I didn't actually get to play as that.
That's what happened.
It downloaded, and I didn't. I got to walk around with the Guts sword, and I was like, yes. And then I found a guy to kill with it, and then that crashed the game every time.
Damn! Once you actually went to get the guy.
Yeah, as soon as I initiate the animation to attack, just dead immediately.
That sucks.
And at the time, the internet's advice on that is stop playing it on a laptop, you dumbass.
Yeah, deadass.
And I said, no, I'll only play things on a laptop.
Based opinion.
And I use the touchpad, too. None of this separate mouse with a dongle or Bluetooth.
Yeah.
No, I use the touchpad. If I had a trackball, I'm in hog heaven. The little track nubbin from the old Think books.
Oh man, no!
I beat every Flash game.
Oh man,
there was a Flash game. I crushed it with that touchpad.
That's
Kevin's a different breed.
That's
right.
I'm built different like that. Built different like that anymore.
I'm built different.
100%.
Bad.
My experience was I played Morrowind first, but I was just a wee lad, so that shit was hard.
Oh yeah, I bet, dude.
That was 11 or something, 12 on Xbox, especially. It's terrible.
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't very good at it, and then I got Oblivion when I was a little bit older. Loved it. It was great. Played the fuck out of that. Got Skyrim in high school. Was disappointed initially. Everyone else fucking loved that game, and I was like,
it's Broder Scrolls.
I was like, what is this?
They loved it enough to buy it 6 more times.
It was the only game I've ever gone to a midnight release for, and then I played for 3 days, and then I put it away.
Wow. Wow, that bad.
Scathing.
Because I was so used to Oblivion, I was like, this is a different game.
And it was.
And yeah, and it is, whatever. If you love Skyrim, cool. I don't hate it or anything. I went back and I played the whole thing,
But Oblivion was your game.
Oblivion's my favorite of the bunch.
Right.
For all the jankiness that it has. Then from there, I do this thing where even if I haven't played games, I love learning about them and the lore. I call myself a lore whore. And here we are. I love listening to Elder Scrolls lore. It's so wacky and weird.
And now, because I don't want to listen to any of that stuff, we're going to make him do it to us.
So it's not. I'm not doing like a lore deep dive. That actually is like its own thing.
Yep.
This is just the games.
The lore is
their
so
plots.
So intricate and like
it'd be like explain 40K to me. It's like you can't do that in a single.
That's not.
You have to ask
request.
about specific things.
Tony and I made the mistake of trying to explain the concept of Warhammer 40K to a guy at Justin's party.
Yeah.
And it took all night, and then he walked away like, that sounds crazy.
Yeah. We were doing it for about 2 hours.
Yeah.
So I'll probably have to pause while explaining some of the games just to like give context for stuff.
Yeah.
But I'll do that as I go and give a heads up as I'm doing it. But so to start off, The Elder Scrolls is a series made by Bethesda Games, which is weird because as I understand, Bethesda started out as a sports game company.
Huh.
So now they do the opposite.
So it was a weird pivot for them. It was like a big risk. And then the first game is Elder Scrolls Arena, which was released in February of 1994.
That's a bold move to make your first game like a
hard left turn, but it was a success. Like it apparently really blew people's minds at the time.
Was it just like a Mountain Blade type? Just fight some guys? What?
No, so it's like a dungeon crawler basically,
Oh.
with like open map and everything too. So it is like open world, but it's got like those 2D graphics with like 3D rendered like field
like Doom?
shit. A little bit less, like pretty much, but more heavily like fantasy and shit. And
Yeah.
apparently the controls are really janky. I don't know too much about. I don't know actually much about like the gameplay.
The controls were
itself.
barely invented, I'm sure.
Yeah, and it's the first game especially is very bare bones.
Yeah.
Like it's a really straightforward concept. But this is what I found interesting is it solidified a lot of the stuff that came later. So this is like a lot of the lore that we know now was not really established.
Right.
That happened like over time and over the various titles.
Yeah.
But it did throw ideas out there, which came back up later, and they're like, this is actually this, like later on. So they would like they mention names and stuff, for example, and it's just like, that was a guy. Turns out that guy was really important. Here's what he did. And then that's in a later game. So Arena, confusing title actually. There's no arena.
See, that's what I was getting at. I'm like, that sounds like a PvP game.
The events happening in the game have made the land such that people call it the arena because it's that dangerous.
Oh, okay.
So this takes place in the land of Tamriel.
Can I cut you off and ask a thing first?
Go ahead.
Why is it called Elder Scrolls? That's the name of all of it, and I have no recollection of that ever coming up.
So it's because in universe there are the literal Elder Scrolls, which record all of time, reality, any possible future, any possible past, any possible. It's described that like they can view time up, they can view time down, they can view it sideways, left to right. They hold all knowledge.
All knowledge of everything that ever could or would happen.
Yes.
Is in the Elder Scrolls.
They're pretty good scrolls.
Now, when they became that, I'm not quite sure. At least as early as Oblivion, I'm not clear on Morrowind. Before that, they don't really like come up in game. Like, so I'm not sure if that's what they were then. This is again like they add lore as they go.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure when they were solidified as that. Maybe it was just like the Elder Scroll was like the game, like this is the story you're reading about or whatever. I'm not too clear, but that's what they are.
That's what they become in the lore.
Maybe they were earlier. I'm not too.
Dragon Ball is
clear.
called Dragon Ball because of the Dragon Balls.
Yes,
gotcha.
Pretty much, exactly.
Yeah.
But so Arena came out. I said earlier, February 1994.
Yes.
the story is Emperor Uriel the Seventh. So the same one who's in pretty much every game, like minus Skyrim. So the dude from the Oblivion trailer, close shut the jaws of Oblivion. That Patrick Stewart.
Yeah.
He's the Emperor in like pretty much every game. So
These games take place over a short period of time, I guess.
For the most part, yeah.
At least
surprisingly.
one guy lifetime.
Except Skyrim, right? Because that's 200 years.
That's a couple hundred years in the future.
Yeah.
The Septim Dynasty is basically like gone. They still have emperors and stuff, but it's like they're not Dragonborn
But it's not Patrick
anymore.
Stewart, so...
Yeah. But the plot line of Arena is the Emperor has been betrayed by his Imperial battle mage, Yegar Tharn, who's classic evil, vizier. He's a Jafar.
Great trope.
He decides, no, I'm going to be in charge, and he betrays the Emperor.
Betraytorous, how could you?
Yeah, pretty much. And he seals him and the leader of the Imperial Guard in a barrier, and then throws them into a pocket plane of Oblivion. It's just like, and then he's got this artifact.
That's a pretty good move.
Worked. The staff, and to be a dick as he's about to do that and putting them in like a magic sleep, he uses his illusion magic to turn into Uriel Septim.
Oh
right.
Man.
And
he turns to the camera like, you didn't think we'd hire Patrick Stewart and not have Patrick Stewart in all this game. Have him just in a pocket dimension. No, I'll be taking over as Patrick Stewart.
Yeah, so he takes over. He's got this artifact called the Staff of Chaos, and he uses that to zap them away into another dimension. And then he can't destroy it apparently because it's just too dope of an artifact, and so he breaks it into 8 pieces and scatters them all across Tamriel. And he's like, yes, now no one can stop me. And then he starts playing the part of being the Emperor.
I mean, conceptually, if you were to have a magical staff that can send people to another dimension or retrieve people that you have sent to another dimension that you don't want retrieved, and your idea of like, and then I'll destroy the staff, and you break it in half, and then the staff still just works.
We'll get there.
I don't know what else to do besides break it and like hide it, throw it at bottom of lakes and shit.
We'll get there. He did some stuff with it. There's also a gem involved.
Of course. Why would sapphires?
But you are you become the character, the eternal champion at the end. That
right.
is the name of the protagonist in this one. But you're kind of just like a dude who was adopted by may or may not. This is a little fucky. Eventually, it's like you're just a Gaio, but you are involved with that head of the Imperial Guard guy. Like he's like your adopted father, maybe ? But you get training as like from the Imperial Guard basically, and then you're sent to learn magic in the Imperial Court. Like you're just an apprentice to the apprentice of Yegar Tharn, who is Rhea Silmaine, I believe her name is.
Apprentice to the apprentice sounds like, I'm here for the unpaid internship. Oh no, this is the paid internship. And you're like, you guys are gonna pay me? No, you're gonna pay us. You actually work for the interns.
Ooh.
So yeah, you become her apprentice. You guys become friends. Though she found out about the whole impersonating the Emperor thing, so he kills her.
Right.
And then Yegar Tharn, not really believing you're a threat, throws you in jail, basically.
Right.
But Rhea's a pretty good sorceress, so she manages to preserve her life force on this plane. She can't really do anything.
Right.
But she has kept her like spirit in the mortal realm.
She's learned how to become a ghost.
She basically force ghosts and links to your mind, and she can come to you in your dreams. And that's just what she does. She's your Yoda. She's explaining the stuff you need to do. She tells you how to get out of jail. There's conveniently a key around, and she tells you to get that. And then she activates basically a teleportation circle for you. And you then go about every province of Tamriel to collect the pieces of the Staff of Chaos.
I'm just imagining that like this has like very similar like controls to like Skyrim, where it's like, no, don't use your hand to grab the keys. Use the cursor at the middle of the screen, and then if you just click X, you can scroll the keys over to you with that weird like half telepathy that you have in Skyrim.
Yeah, I don't really know how it works, but
I presume that we're not supposed to act like it's a real thing. We're supposed to be like, he just grabs it, okay?
yeah, you just take the thing, and then that's pretty much the story. It's straightforward. Like
Telekinesis, I meant.
you go to each province,
wondering, yeah.
which is weird. If you know Elder Scrolls games, like modern ones, they typically take place in one province.
Right.
Yeah.
Morrowind is Morrowind. Oblivion takes place in Cyrodiil. Skyrim is Skyrim. But in this one, you go to all of them.
We got to establish that.
World. That's one of the things it did. It established, like, these are the provinces.
Yeah.
Like, the first main character goes to every single one of them. They're not exactly, like, solidified yet. But that is...
Right, I'm sure at this point in the lore, they were just trying to see what sticks.
Yeah, they just came up with some names and stuff.
Yeah.
So you go and you collect all the pieces, like, from every province. Good job.
Do a little dungeon in each one, like this is a Mega Man.
Yeah, he puts them back together. Staff doesn't work. It's out of juice. But Rhea Silmain and her last bits of power comes to you again. She says, Yegar Tharn has this jewel. I think it's the Jewel of Flame or Fire. And you have to touch the staff to that. Because it'll suck back in.
And then you say the Green Lantern's Oath, and it will give you power, yes.
It sucks back in all the power, and then Yegar Tharn has become basically a lich and put his life force in there. So you can't get him unless you get the gem.
Two birds, one stone situation, unfortunately.
And so, yeah, big climax. You charge the Imperial capital.
Right.
You battle your way through the castle till you come face to face with him. You can't get him, though. Apparently, you can just kill him if you're good enough.
Oh, hell yeah. Be a Chad.
So apparently hand-to-hand is really good in the early games. So, like, supposedly a lot of builds that just go in and beat the shit out of him is you're just a really brutal, like, karate guy. And so you just beat him to death with your fist. Like, it's like Metal Gear Solid. It's CQC.
Yeah,
like,
beat his ass.
I wish that's where the DNA of this entire series went.
Yeah.
Where you're in a medieval world, but karate is your ally.
Yeah.
Mashal everyone else. I
don't know too much about that. That's just what I read. But yeah, what you're supposed to do is touch the staff to the thing, which kills him instantly, takes away his life force, and it opens up the portal that the Emperor was sent through, and the Imperial Guard head guy. And then you did it. Good job. He names you the Eternal Champion.
You're the very best.
Yeah, hooray.
You've saved the president. Congratulations.
And that's basically the first game. It's really simple. It's really straightforward.
Yeah. Establishes a lot of stuff.
It does, which playable races, I did find... I wrote just a couple things I found interesting.
Yeah.
Was, so that you can't be an orc, and Imperials don't exist yet.
Oh, wow.
So your choices are Argonian, Breton, Dark Elf, High Elf, Khajiit, Nord, Redguard, and Wood Elf.
That's still so many more choices than I would expect from the first of this game.
It's not bad, right?
Yeah.
But they're not... They haven't been solidified as like what they are. So the Khajiit, for example, they're noted as being descended from cats, but they just look like dudes.
Huh. Okay.
They're just like really agile and stuff, but that's like their backstory is like supposedly they're descended from intelligent like felines.
Man, that sucks, because that reminds me of like the Klingons in like the original Star Trek.
Yeah,
they didn't even have like the foreheads or any of the cool shit that the Next Generation gave them. They were just more like
dudes.
Yeah, sort of vaguely space Mongolians, rather than being sick ass sci-fi warriors. The Catman problem. What do you mean that they're just people?
Mm-hmm. There's an explanation for this later, but as the games progress,
not good enough.
They slowly become more and more cat.
It's good.
Yeah,
a fantasy series. We don't need just another excuse for you to make a caricature of a type of people.
Yeah, and then for the most part, racial traits are basically the same. They're just like slightly adjusted, but all the DNA is there for that.
Right.
And then, orcs aren't playable until you finish the second game. That's a plot point of the second game I'll get into. Orcs are basically suing to be people.
Okay.
Because like until
We know that the Lord of the Rings movies are coming out. We don't want people to think badly of us.
so it's yeah they're like
That was a dramatization of events that didn't even happen in time real.
they don't get to be citizens until then. They're like monsters
Right.
in the earlier games. Some other things I thought was fun was that they throw around names, and then they still have like a bunch of artifacts you can get, but they're not Daedric artifacts yet or Adric artifacts. They're
Right.
just artifacts. So they throw around names like Oriel's bow, which is a thing, or Oriel's shield. You're familiar with Oriel if you've played Skyrim. You get Oriel's bow in the Dawnguard DLC. Oriel being the...
Is that the glowy, like, dawnlight looking one that's gold?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's... Oriel is just the elven version of Akatosh, or vice versa, because Oriel was first, technically.
Please, my elven name is Oriel.
Yeah.
Akatosh that's only for people of the culture.
Then like mainstays like the Ebony Mail or the Ebony Blade, Volendrung, like Necromancer's Amulet, Ring of Khajiit. These are all things that appear in later games. They're just here first, and then later on they get like more lore attached to
Right.
them.
They put them in there because they're like, we need to put like 30x or whatever, like, magic items in this game. Start cranking them out. And then the ones that need to be really good, we'll make up lore later. Come on. We put, how many provinces? Like 8?
They're about.
Put like 8 provinces in this game.
So yeah, it's
And every god has like 3 names.
So the gods aren't established yet. The little blurb about Oriel actually notes him as being like a mythical demigod.
Oh, more of a Hercules type.
So they don't have even the gods established next. They do in the next game. The guilds are basically the same. You can join the Blades, the Mage Guild, the Dark Brotherhood, the Thieves Guild, and this other group called the Wharf Rats, which are just hooligans, I guess, who have beef with the Thieves Guild.
What was the Fallout hooligans?
There's a lot.
The Tunnel Snakes rule. Yeah.
Tunnel Snakes rule.
Is this... Has it always been a thing where you just get to be in charge of all of the colleges just by being the best
Pretty much,
dude?
if you do the quest lines.
That's great.
And then, weirdly enough, the Blades in this one are not yet the Emperor's Guardians. They're like a mercenary band.
Oh.
So yeah, stuff like that hasn't been established yet.
Right. And Griffith hasn't sacrificed everybody to the...
That's Twilight Eclipse, yeah. No.
And then, so the next game is Daggerfall, which only took 2 years to make. That also like blew people's minds. Was like just 2 scant years later, they dropped another whole ass game.
Is Daggerfall the maximum big one? The huge game that people...
Yes,
Yeah.
this is the technically the biggest one, and it's still like in the top biggest maps of just games of all time.
Right, because it was a bad idea to do that.
I mean, it's fun in concept, but it's like it takes literal days to like weeks to in real time walk from
You
one
have
side
to
to the
fast
other.
travel, yeah.
Yeah, like it's not really an option to.
It's like playing like a live action like walk through Delaware. Like it's not that big, but it's a lot fucking bigger than you think.
Yeah, you're not supposed to play the game that way. It's absolutely massive. Most of it's procedurally generated.
Yeah.
And this one, it came out in September of 1996. You play as the agent.
The agent.
You start as a member of the Blades, and you're here on behalf of the Emperor. Like, he sent your ass out there. Like, you're already one of his dudes, like his top guys. And your mission is there's mysterious circumstances around the death of King Lysandus around in High Rock, which High Rock is the Breton region, made up of 3 regions, of one of which is Daggerfall, the titular Daggerfall, Wayrest, and Sentinel. And then the orcs are also there. They're gathering up. They've banded together, and their leader, Gortwog, is saying, like, hey, we should be recognized as, like, a unified people. We're people.
Right. We can talk and everything. You guys are really mean to us. I know the giants and stuff, they just sort of howl at you, but we're guys.
Yeah, and he wants to establish the kingdom of Orsinium. And that's just another political thing going on.
Yeah.
But it's your job to go find out about the death of King Lysandus, his ghost is haunting his city at night.
That's
Just
sick.
Oh, well,
as
okay.
as a rambling madman.
Oh, that's terrifying.
That's why you're investigating it. Yeah, that he died and we're all sad about it, but the real problem is his spirit is
He just won't
so
shut
annoying.
up.
And
He just won't shut
the
up.
only coherent word you can hear from him is revenge.
That's awesome.
And
That's
as a
awesome.
side note, he's like, also, by the way, I sent this letter to the queen. It was really like sentimental. If you could just get that back and like destroy it, that'd be real cool too. Not that important though, but you should do it.
Yeah, but get it and destroy it and don't read it. Super don't read it.
And so what happened was
What had happened was...
the letter is actually super important. He was just trying to not let on how important it was. But
Right.
the issue was he addressed it to the queen of, I believe, Daggerfall. And at the time, that was the lady he sent it to. What's her name?
Oh, he meant to send it to somebody else, but then the office changed hands.
Yes, and then there was a new queen, and then the courier didn't know no better.
Right. It was sent to the queen.
So he just gave it to the current queen, and then she didn't really know what it was about, but she was like, I know this is political dirt. I don't know how to use this yet, but I'm gonna use it. And it was supposed to go to Queen Minasera. She's not the queen anymore. And yeah, so that becomes a whole thing. And essentially the plot is you have to interact with all these stupid-ass nobles, get on their good side to puzzle out more information. And then also you have to interact with the two other factions. Well, three if you include the orcs. One of which is the King of Worms.
They're not even including us in the political factions in our own game. We're getting rights. We have our own cities.
So the King of Worms is the leader of the Necromancers.
Mm-hmm.
So
That's a good name.
Manny Marco, who later on, these two people are the same thing. But he's never referred to really as Manny Marco in this. He's just the King of Worms.
Uh-huh.
Manny Marco is name dropped in Arena, but the two aren't connected yet. It's not until Morrowind where it's confirmed Manny Marco is the King of Worms. They're the same dude. But he is one of the factions in this, and then there's the most mysterious power is the Underking, who no one really knows what his deal is. Supposedly he's a powerful undead, similar to a lich, but not quite a lich.
Right.
And him and the King of Worms are actually at odds, despite probably both of them are undead.
Right.
And it's not really sure what his motives are.
I mean, if you're like an independent undead of great power, and then a necromancer of great power, relative to you, great power shows up, you either have to throw hands or like join him, don't you?
Yeah, they don't get along. And so that's the plot, is you have to ingratiate yourself to all these different people to learn more information about what they know, to get more information about what's going on. Until eventually you find out, the king was basically betrayed.
Betrayerous! How could you?
Yeah, so he was having an affair, and then he tried to fake his death.
Classic king
And
shit.
it, didn't go well.
No.
It was got betrayed. That's the whole revenge thing. So you find out about that, and then the letter, I kind of already explained that. You're trying to get that back, because apparently that is incriminating evidence against the emperor.
Right.
And then the real plot, though, is everyone's after this thing. It's called the Totem of Tiber Septim.
Oh, the totem.
And yeah, it's like, well, what is that? It's just like, go find out, asshole. And so you gotta piece that together. What's this totem business? And so the totem is connected to this other thing that everyone's trying to get their hands on, called the Numidium. What's the Numidium?
I remember hearing about the Numidium. This is the one thing I remember from the game series.
So this is basically the dwarves, the Dwemer, who they're not really established as the Dwemer yet. They are established as the dwarves, who just aren't around for some reason. They built a giant mech out of brass, basically.
Sick.
And, Tiber Septim used that to basically conquer all the land back in the
With
day.
a Gundam?
Yes.
Yep, pretty good move. The elves had no counter to the Gundam.
No one does.
And so it's your job to... The totem is connected to what powered the Numidium called the Mentella, which is a extremely powerful soul gem. Created by Tiber Septim's battle mage Zurin Arctus, then used to turn on the Numidium.
Right.
Unfortunately, shenanigans happened, and from what's called the Arcturian heresy you can find in-game, written by the Underking, you find out, Tiber Septim's kind of a dick. He turned on his battle mage and pretty much stole the Mantella from him, which kind of pissed him off.
That's right, Betrayeress. I've betrayed you this time.
Well, because they tricked this other guy, Wolfarth, who's a demigod, basically. It's a whole... he's a Shezarene, I'll get into that.
A lot of swindling going
It's
on
a whole
in the
thing.
making of this Gundam.
Because he had deduced that you need divine power to turn on the giant magic mech.
Right.
And Wolfarth, being a demigod, he was like, I'll
I
just
have
soul
some
trap
divine
his
power.
ass.
Yeah.
And get him. And put him in the gem. There we go. We juice the
That's
robot.
divine. That counts. Yeah.
And so he does, but Wolfarth was also extremely powerful and blew a hole in his chest. But a piece of Zurin Arctus' soul went into the Mentella too. Now he's the Underking. And then basically Tiber Septim walked in and was just like, they're both dead. I'll just be taking this. All right.
I imagine he's
robot.
walking in like, man, this plan's going to go so great. I am going to have to do a betrayal, but I think that everything's going to go really smoothly from now. And he opens the door.
Everything's coming up, Tiber.
Yeah.
And he looks inside, and they've killed each other. And at the end of this, all he was supposed to walk away from was like, oh, now me and my friend have this jewel. And he's like, well, I guess still counted as a W.
Dicks.
A win is a win.
A win is a win. A
Then-
win is a win.
He turns on the robot. He stomps around. It's a real good move. Then the Underking, he wants his soul back.
Right.
So he just fights the Numidium and blows it the fuck up.
Kaiju battle. Hell yeah.
And he just did that. And then the
That's pretty chattily because the Numidium was like steamrolling everything, right?
The Numidium is scattered, and then up until the events of Daggerfall, the Blades have been recollecting the pieces over the centuries and putting it back together. But we don't have the Mantella. We got to find that,
Right.
which is key to the Totem of Tiber Septim. We got to get that, and then pretty much shenanigans ensue. You have this witch lady who's one of the nobility. She's helping you. She locates the Mantella somehow. Turns out it's in Aetherius. So, quick rundown. You have the material realm, the Mundus, Oblivion, which is just outside of that. And then outside of that is Aetherius, which is the God realm.
Okay.
Quick run. Yeah?
We're in a
Same page?
turducken-style reality.
Yes.
Yes.
And so Aetherius has basically different planes, like how Oblivion does. So like Sovngarde from Skyrim, that's in Aetherius. That's its own plane. You got to go there and do some basically puzzles and dungeons, and then you find the Mantella, you bring it back, you give it to someone, and they get the Numidium. Oh wait, no, doesn't matter who you give it to. As soon as the Numidium is turned on, Dragon Break happens.
Yeah, I heard about Dragon Break.
So Dragon Break, the simplest terms, is time is fractured. It is now split into multiple timelines. So there's 7 different endings you can get based on who you give the Mantella to.
And they're all canon.
They all happened, and basically didn't happen. But they're all true. But then time fixes itself, and it kind of just cobbles them all together. And so really nobody got the Numidium, because in all the different political factions ended up getting the Numidium, minus the King of Worms and the Underking. They get the Mantella, but they use it for something totally different. But the other ones, they turn on the robot and they just stomp around and beat the shit out of everyone else. But because everyone did that, no one did that. Actually, no, the Numidium's just gone now. Peace is now reestablished. But the other 2 endings is the King of Worms summons the Mantella to him and uses it to ascend to godhood.
Oh, he does it. He wins.
He becomes god.
Yeah.
Game over. Did it. And then the Underking gets it, and he just wants to die.
Right.
Because he's trapped in this unlife. He's neither alive nor dead, is how it's described.
Yeah, he doesn't have his soul. That's like the...
So he gets the Mantella, slurps his soul back, he turns alive again for a minute, and then he just instantly dies.
That-
His soul is now at peace.
Oh,
he gets to pass on.
That's the good end.
He told you that's what I'm gonna do. Like, I don't want to kill anyone. I don't want to do anything. I just want to die, dude.
I know
like,
you don't trust anybody with the nuclear heart of Evangelion. But listen, it's me. I'm the heart of Evangelion. Please just let me die.
Yeah.
And no one gets the Gundam. It's easy.
The problem is other people tell you if you give it to him, bad things will happen.
Yeah.
Because of course.
Right.
Like,
because they want it.
yeah.
They have no reason to be honest with you. There's no advantage to them being like, well, I suppose if it lets him rest at peace and then no longer will we have to worry about anyone getting the Gundam. No. They want the Gundam.
I want to stomp around.
Do the orcs also choose to stomp around with the Gundam?
Yeah.
That's excellent.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
See, that should be one of their key
we're
arguments.
people.
One of their key arguments for why we should get all the same rights. If given the same opportunity, all of us would have used the Gundam for violence.
That's why it's like considered a miracle too, is because like the orcs do get to be people now. They established the kingdom of Orsinium.
Oh,
Good job.
good.
Yeah. And then everyone's at peace, basically. It's just like as a result of all the endings happen.
I really like orcs, like as a fantasy race, so that makes me happy.
Yeah, same. Yeah.
So yeah, after this game, in the next main series title, not the two spin-off titles, orcs become playable, and so do Imperials. So in Morrowind, those become things. And then this game solidified the Daedric Princes and their artifacts. And then this also, the main pantheon of Cyrodiilic gods, the ones they talk about all the time, the divines, this also cemented those. Which, a fun little thing, little Easter egg, is most of the gods and a lot of the other characters were just plays on the names of beta testers for the games.
That's good.
I like that. That's good.
It was really, it's very wholesome.
Especially considering the like canonicity of like the outer, like the outside of the universe.
Yeah, and they start to get more into like, they established Aetherius. Oblivion really doesn't come up that much, but it's like you start to see Daedra and stuff like
There's
that.
There's a big Galactus motherfucker who lives in Oblivion, and you beat his ass. That's all you need to know about Oblivion.
So yeah, and then the usual factions are around. The Dark Brotherhood keeps changing, which I find interesting. So in this one, they're described as worshippers of Mephala, who's one of the Daedric princes, and not Sithis.
It's because at the end of every single fucking game, you take over all the colleges. And
we're doing something different
and
now.
then they, like, you leave and there's a power vacuum, and they're like, we're doing something different now. Exactly.
Yeah, and then this is also the first mention of the Night Mother, who's real big in later Dark Brotherhood storylines.
Is that a vampire?
Nope, she's a lady who sacrificed her 5 children to Sithis and became his bride, and now she is like a corpse basically, but her spirit still lingers in it, and people pray to her, and she tells the Dark Brotherhood who to go kill and collect payment from.
Oh.
Yeah, it's pretty fucked up.
That was way off.
Yeah.
There's a big quest line in Skyrim that people simp over.
It's pretty sick, though. I mean,
so next on, this is the first spin-off game, Battlespire. So Battlespire is a little weird. So for one, it takes place only in the Battlespire and a couple of realms of Oblivion. What's the Battlespire? The Battlespire is a training ground for Imperial mages, and it's like a giant fucking, basically, space station in not Oblivion. It's like in a halfway realm.
We built the danger room in hell. That's sick.
That's super sick.
And yeah, you basically, if you get selected for training, like you go there and you train for X amount of years.
Years?
Yeah, and then you come back, and they're called Manonauts.
I love that.
It's very silly.
I've heard a lot of the lore interspersed over the past couple months or so, just talking to you about it, and that's so far my favorite part of the lore, where they're like, yeah, we have a secret space station in hell, and we're exploring hell with it by making Manonauts.
Yeah, so
pretty sick, nasty.
It's pretty cool.
It's like Doom, like one of the Doom sequels, where like hell, like we've finally beaten back the armies of hell. We've begun advancing on hell.
So smash cut back to the first game. Remember that guy Rhaegar Sarn and how he took over the Empire for a little while? Well, turns out he had a lot of help from Mehrunes Dagon, the god of the Daedric Prince of Destruction. And in exchange, he said, yeah, you can have the Battlespire. Go crazy.
Fun.
So Mehrunes Dagon has taken over the Battlespire. He invaded, and he owns that shit now.
Oh, man.
Some of you might be wondering about the management style of the Danger Room as of late. It's because we've traded it to a young Lucifer who has decided to... he's an entrepreneur-style being. I hope that you'll all treat him with the due respect as he converts this part of hell back into being hell.
But yeah, so that happens. This is also one of the first times I think a dragon is mentioned. They have a dragon at the Battlespire.
He's just hanging out?
He's just there. He's on their side.
Does he talk?
Yeah, and
Cool.
apparently, some battle mages ride him into battle and stuff. And
I don't like it when dragons can't talk. I always like it when dragons are like wise, sentient beings, and they've always
been able to in the Elder Scrolls.
I like that. It's always good.
I really like the concept that this dragon is... Like, dragons in the Elder Scrolls games are, like, half god, I think.
Sort of.
And, like, he's like, oh, you want to ride me into battle? Sure.
Yeah, well,
why not, little guy? Hop on!
So it's like you find out about it later, but it's like he had like this really good friend on the battle mages, and
right.
like when the spire is getting taken over, that friend like goes to him, and it's just like, we're gonna take this shit back. They already killed the dragon, and he's just like, fuck. I guess I'll die with my friend, and then he goes out swinging.
Aww.
Yeah. But
that's so
pretty
sad.
much only Yeager Tharn knows that the Battlespire is being taken over. People in the Battlespire are like, oh, they're gonna send help. Obviously, no help is coming.
They're not going to just let the Lucifer be in charge.
Yeah. But also, it's important. No one knows that's happening, and you're an apprentice, and you're going to the Battlespire for training. So you and this other
you're
apprentice,
here for years.
Well, you teleport in, and it's like, oh no, it's been taken over by the Daedra. What the fuck? And so as you're the apprentice, that's the title of this character.
Right.
You and this other apprentice, he goes on ahead and leaves like notes and shit for you, like which helps you. It's like your little guide.
That's fun.
But basically, it's one giant like mega dungeon, and you just fight your way through. Like
that's awesome.
Good luck,
That's
kid.
Pretty sick.
And yeah, this one's much more like action oriented.
Yeah,
it's a lot less like RPG elements. It's more of just like go kick ass.
So it really is just Doomslayer
Battlespire.
That's pretty fucking sick. This sounds like it might be my favorite Elder Scrolls.
Yeah, that sounds sick, dude.
And your main goal is you have to hop around a couple realms of Oblivion.
Right.
Because to get to the Battlespire, Mehrunes Dagon traveled through a couple other realms to get there. So he passed through one of Nocturnal's domains and was fucking up the Nocturnals there, which is just a race of Daedra. And they're not happy about it. So you go help them, and then they help you. And then there's also the Seducers who he scooped up, and then now they're the Dark Seducers, which is those come up in later games, but they apparently were just the Seducers before. And then there's also this other guy you find in it's like this weird pocket plane where Dagon like hunts people, but this conjurer tried to trick him one time, made a deal with him to live forever with in his hometown with the happy voices of his friends and family all around him forever. And then he tried to pull a fast one because he was wearing what's called the Savior's Hide, which protects you from Dagon shenanigans. It's very anti-magic.
Right.
And then Dagon, because this also introduced the concept of neonymics and protonymics.
What the fuck
which,
is that?
Ignore what I just said. True name magic.
Okay.
So he knew Mehrunes Dagon's true name.
Okay.
He used that shit to send him back to. They call it the Void in this. He sent him back to Oblivion, but he didn't think it would take as long as it did. He thought it was going to be instant, but
right.
it was a slow drain. And then Mehrunes and he curses him with the literal wording of what he said. So he scoops up his entire hometown. That he kills all of his friends and family, but he keeps their voices there.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then this guy is now eternally haunted. He's immortal, but he doesn't stop aging.
Oh man.
And then he gets to live there in solitude.
He's gonna turn into a golem.
Yeah. And then you meet up with this guy, and he's like, "Hey, man, I'll help you out. My situation's fucked." He gives you the Savior's Hide, that's going to protect you from Dagon shenanigans. He tells you how to get out, basically. Then he gives you Dagon's proto-Nimic or neo-Nimic, one of the two. And so from there, you have to collect basically a bunch of items. You manage to get back out, but then you come face to face with like pretty much like the major domo of the Mehrunes clan. He's a Dremora, and surprisingly chill. You show up and he's just like, oh hey, by the way, I think we've spread ourselves too thin. The Dagon clan. I think it'd be good if Mehrunes and his adopted children like were gone for a little bit so I can clean up this mess. Like, can you help me with that? You're just like, sure.
I'm working on a pretty similar project myself.
You don't really have a choice. And then he tells you their true names. He gives you the pieces you're missing, and then tells you the artifacts you need to get, which requires the Savior's Hide, his Proto and Neo-Nimics, the Aid of Absent Friends, I don't know what that means, a Bit of Hope, and a weapon made for Dagon's own substance, the Sword of the Moon Reaver. And the last one you get off of a Dark Seducer that...
it better have been a big curved sword.
Basically.
Yeah, it was.
Oh, yeah.
Any moon thing.
And yeah, that was... A Dark Seducer became Dagon's concubine, basically, and you get it from her. You beat her ass, and you take that, and then you roll up on Mehrunes Dagon himself. And he's just like, I'm a god. What are you going to do about it? And then you hit him with the true name shit, and then he tries to hit you with some shit, but you got the Savior's Side, and he's like, ah, fuck. And then you take out the sword, he's like, oh, fuck.
Beans.
Yeah,
you appear to have all of the advantages now.
Yeah, and then you get his ass.
Yeah.
And he's banished back to Oblivion.
Ah!
Yeah. And then, unfortunately, the way this plays out is the Battlespire is fucked. It was pretty destroyed. And
it's probably why
they kind of just shut it down.
Yeah.
Shut her down.
And
that's sad.
Yeah.
Skyrim would have been tremendously improved by a DLC of like, you want to see what's going on in hell?
And the Battlespire.
It doesn't really come up. I think there's references to it in like Elder Scrolls Online, stuff like that. But it's really kind of just its own thing, just over there. But it really, like, it helps solidify some stuff about Mehrunes Dagon, the Savior's Hide, like artifacts and stuff, and then the Neo-Nimic and the Proto-Nimic thing came specifically from this, and then like that stuck. That just became a thing. Like there's true name magic now in the Elder Scrolls.
I imagine it's because Nimic is Nim is as in like mononym, like name, like it's I'm putting together what they probably are.
And the only other interesting little note I have about Battlespire is that it had a multiplayer mode.
Really?
Where you fight each other, yeah.
That makes perfect sense.
Fun.
What was this on?
PC.
That adds up.
They're all PC until Morrowind. That was when they finally started getting console releases.
And was it just Xbox?
I'm not sure.
Because PS3 was the first one on PS3 was Oblivion. I'm pretty sure. I don't know that.
I mean, it would make sense if they like worked closely with
Xbox
Microsoft.
Only. I'm not too clear, but yeah, that's what I played.
Because I specifically never got an Xbox, and I never got to play Morrowind.
Yeah, that's probably it though. But I'm not 100%, but probably. Then the next game is the odd one out of the bunch, even more so than Battlespire, Redguard. So Elder Scrolls Adventure, Redguard came out in November 1998.
Goodness, we're still in the 90s.
Yeah, second spin-off game, and this one you're hard locked into a character and his story.
Right.
Sorry, and you just have to do it. And
you
it's
don't
like
get to make your freaky butt-faced frogman.
Yeah, and it's a third person, and has like puzzle and platform elements to it. Apparently, it's terrible, really hard to play, but it established some cool things, like the concept of the Redguards of Hammerfell are the descendants of the continent of Yakuta and the culture of the Yakutans, and Yakuta basically being not Africa / Atlantis,
right? Because
it sank into the sea, is gone now, and that's where the Yakutans fled from, came to Tamriel, and became the Redguards in Hammerfell.
Okay.
And so it established all that like side of their lore. along with like sword singing comes up. That's like an ancient Yakutan art that's like been lost. It's pretty vague. They could like make like soul swords and shit, like lightsabers or whatever. And so
It would have been really cool. We didn't put that in the game, but we did describe it briefly.
yeah, this one takes place in the second era, or the end of the second era. Prince Ator has been killed by the Imperials occupying Hammerfell, and the Yakutan, the Redguards are pretty mad about it.
Right.
You are a mercenary named Cyrus who has come back because he heard that his sister has gone missing. His sister Isara. And you got to figure out what's up with that. Cyrus and his sister didn't get along because he killed her husband.
That'll do
it. Yeah.
They were having a
Good husband or bad husband?
She says she loved him later. I don't know. I didn't really get too much into it, but
it does put a pall on why you would kill.
Well, they were having a political argument, basically, because there's people who are like kind of okay with the Imperials.
Keep it away from the dinner table.
Yeah,
I always say.
Then there's the traditionalists who are really mad that the Imperials have come in and are being dicks, you know. And this is the like only game where the Imperials are just like outright the bad guys. Like they're the antagonists. You are actively working against them.
I mean, that makes sense, though. All the other games can't have like the Imperials be the active antagonist if you might have made your character an Imperial.
Yeah, it's just it doesn't really come up in any of the other games. Like they're not like
right.
Like the Empire is just the Empire. It's just there.
Yeah.
In this one though, it's like you are actively fighting against the governor, Lord Rickton, who is trying to stop you at every turn for some reason. But basically, the whole plot is your sister has gone missing. Mm-hmm. She was trying to find the soul gem that has the soul of Prince Ator in it. She wants to try to bring it back to life. And you're like, okay, well...
Your sister like an accomplished wizard or something?
No, but she tried to find one, and it didn't go well.
I think this woman is taking things into her own hands when she doesn't have any skills.
Yeah, because the people loved this prince, apparently. He was apparently a really good guy, and they want to bring him back. That's why they hate the governors, because he was in charge of the force.
It's the equivalent of a guy coming back from, like Vietnam or whatever, and then, after a couple of years, his sister goes missing because she wants to hunt down the real killer for JFK.
Sort of.
It's...
But yes, you basically are on a, investigation type deal where you that's basically the whole game. There's, fighting. It's pretty shitty. But you are investigating, you're gathering clues, you're talking to people to find out what happened to your sister, which leads you to, you're trying to get the help of, basically a wizard. There's a lady who agrees to help you, but first you got to help her save her son's soul.
Classic.
Because there's this asshole necromancer who's chilling on an island, I believe. And this is kind of cool about this game. This is the first introduction of the Slowed, who are slug people, basically. They're horrible. They're also powerful necromancers. This game established that. This is the first time you ever meet one.
Okay. And
he has cast a soul net in the area because there was a war recently. Plenty of souls.
Right.
He's making bank.
Oh, yeah.
We eating good.
Yeah, and he pays tribute to Lord Rickton. So it's it's a win-win.
Oh, win-win, yeah.
And
doing villain
she needs, the wizard lady needs your help to help her son, soul, not get caught in there. You do a bunch of stuff. You perform a magic ritual. You did it. Cool. You also interact with that Slowed a bunch. Turns out that's what your sister went to.
Of course.
She made a deal with this guy. He's like, okay, I'll tell you about it, but you got to do some stuff for me. So he gives him an amulet, and he's just like, go deliver this to the governor.
Right.
He's like, okay, fine. You go do that. You have a fight with the governor,
right.
But his bodyguard knocks you out. Then you get imprisoned, you break out of jail, yada, yada, yada. You go back to the Slowed.
I'm pretty sure every one of these games has a prison break in it. And it's good every time.
Pretty much.
I love a prison break.
You go back to the Slowed, and you're just like, okay, what's up? Where's my sister? He's like, yeah, so she wanted me to help her revive the prince. I agreed under the condition she pay me with her soul. He's like, you what? And he's like, yeah. So she paid me her soul, and then I didn't do that.
Oh.
I then gave her soul to the Daedric Prince, Clavicus Vial, and then that amulet you just had, that was the soul gem of the prince. You just delivered it to the governor. You're a dumbass. Neener.
Oh, man.
Well, you see, I'm going to put your money into an investment portfolio over here that's bundled with a bunch of other debts that is then...
And it's gone.
And it's gone.
God, wow, he played your ass.
Yeah, and so you're just like, I'm going to kill you now.
Yeah.
He's just like, you could try.
How good at necromancy are you? Can you bring yourself back?
He literally actually is just like, let's see if your own soul can get caught in your own net. It's pretty...
Let's find
It's
out.
kind of a funny line. Yeah, you kill his ass, and then now you got to go meet up with Clavicus Vial and basically bet your soul that, like, give me a trial, I'll pass it. If I don't, you get my soul too. And you do that, and he gives him the classic, I forget what it's called, the stupid riddle of, like, one guard only tells the truth and one only lies. And, yeah, and you do it. It's not that hard of a fucking riddle.
Yeah.
And you get her sister's soul back, and he's just like, you haven't seen the last of me, Batman.
It's also a really easy riddle if you can quick save.
It's kind of dumb. Clavicus Vial looks hilarious in the game. The graphics are terrible. But yeah, you get your sister's soul back. She's actually pissed when she sees you. You killed her husband. But she's like, you did save my soul. That's pretty cool. Thank you. I guess we can let the past, be the past.
Did the prince ever get brought back?
So now they got to go get that.
Okay.
Which they find out, he's hidden it in the Imperial Treasury, which is guarded by a dragon.
That's a pretty good guard for your treasury. Okay.
Which dragon names are fucking bananas. I wrote it down. Nephalilargus.
Nephalilargus.
Yeah, so he's a big red dragon, and you gotta go get him. So you roll up into the treasury, and you're just like, can you give me the soul gem? And he's just like, nope. I'm a loyal Imperial soldier.
Oh, dragon.
He's like, all right.
You are?
Yeah, he's pretty confused. And he's like, no, like, yeah, I'm a loyal subject of Tiber Septim. He's just like,
really?
I never would have guessed.
Yeah.
We're fighting now, I guess.
Yeah, sorry, dragon.
And then, yeah.
Well, how did you
run the
meet?
jewels.
Yeah, you 1v1 this dragon, you kill his ass, and you take the gem. Then they try to bring the prince back. But during the... Okay, so yeah, I forgot a detail. You need a body, too, right?
Right.
Well, so... Conveniently, it's apparently a Yakutan custom that you put your royalties' bodies in a stasis field to preserve them.
Makes sense.
So they can still get his body, and it's perfectly preserved.
Now they can revive him.
Yeah, so they try to do that, but the soul instead goes into his sword. And they're like, oh
Oopsie
no,
daisy.
How did that happen? And then the way I wrote it in my notes was that Cyrus then gives the Independence Day speech, because that's basically what he does.
Oh, yeah.
He rallies them and then says that, like, no. The prince did this on purpose to become a symbol for us. He gets this whole, like,
because he knew it wasn't time for him to return to the flesh.
Yeah,
he had to be something more, a symbol for Gotham.
And so everyone's just like, and then Cyrus gets the sword. It's now a dope-ass, like, magical sword. And then you charge the keep of the Imperials, and the governor's trying to run away, and you just ice all their asses, like, which is really easy with your magic sword now.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, got his ass.
And that's kind of the end of the story. It's like, you did it.
Is the prince cool with this?
He's a sword now, so...
Well, I suppose no one's asking.
He doesn't really get a choice, I guess.
And that's the end of Daggerfall? Not Daggerfall.
No,
Redguard.
This is Redguard.
And the next one is Morrowind.
Yes.
Okay, well, with that, we're going to end tonight's episode. We'll hit you next time with Morrowind and Oblivion and the other Elder Scrolls games.
Modern Elder Scrolls
games. Moving into the 2000s.
Goodness.
The era of the future.
The future! Well, I got to pull a Welcome to the World of Tomorrow thing at our D&D last time. That was great.
All right, well, thank you all for listening. And
we have one more thing.
Oh, yeah?
We do need to celebrate our good friend Famfare here.
Oh, yeah.
He has finished the first draft of his story, his novel. It's clocked in at how many words, pages?
193,533.
An absolute unit tome. And we are going to read through it and help him get ready for the next draft. But first of all, he just finished it this week. Congratulations, Tony.
Yeah, man.
Thanks, Bay. I appreciate that.
This is a big step.
It is. I've actually...
It's a milestone.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Finishing a first draft is a big deal, especially when it's epic fantasy, because those shits are long.
And it can get away from you, trust me. All right, now, I'm sorry for interrupting the good nights.
Oh, no, you're good, boo-boo. But yeah, let's have a great night. Thank you all for listening.
Have a good night, everybody, and congratulations, Tony.
Yeah, we'll catch you next time.